Coming up, protests in Libya are causing an international outcry. Find out how countries around the world are getting involved.
Tired of your wallet feeling empty? Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to this edition of State of Events. I'm Dahlia Asfour.
And I'm Colin Lagren. Thanks for tuning in. Our top story tonight is the rising violence in the Middle East. Tensions are high in Libya after 3 weeks of violent protests. Countries around the world are calling for President Gaddafi to step down. Amanda Batat has more on the international outcry of support for the Libyan people.
The U.S. is repositioning Navy warships along the Libyan coastline in preparation for a possible military intervention. Violence and unrest continues as demonstrators and Gaddafi's forces fight for control over several Libyan cities. Protests continue this week in Libya as anti-government demonstrators gather by the thousands. In Zawiya, just outside of the capital Tripoli, Libyan rebels have taken control of the city. Most protesters are unarmed, but a handful of civilians are openly carrying weapons. Government officials claim that weapons like these are being looted from the police and army, and that this justifies firing upon demonstrators. But these former soldiers say that military chiefs forced them to open fire, so they've willingly changed sides and joined the opposition. Protests, which began mid-February, have been ongoing in Benghazi, Al-Baida, and several other cities. Over the weekend, the UN Security Council voted unanimously for sanctions against Gaddafi. The European Union and President Obama are also calling for the Libyan leader to step down.
Thank you, Amanda. We know that Gaddafi's security forces shot at protesters, but do we know how many people have been killed because of these riots?
Well, there's actually not an official number, but Benghazi doctors are saying about 200 casualties at least, and there are several hundred more injuries. That's just in Benghazi alone. That's not including other cities where fighting has broken out.
So what exactly is the UN doing in response to Gaddafi's actions?
The UN Security Council has actually issued an international war crimes investigation. They've frozen several $1 billion worth of Libyan assets, and they're also putting out travel bans for Gaddafi and his family.
Thank you, Amanda.
We are now in the third week of the uprising in Libya, and many right here in the Bay Area are also calling for Gaddafi to step down. Amal Hassan reports on the San Francisco Solidarity protest with the people of Libya.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hundreds of people took the streets of San Francisco. Many of them are Libyan immigrants and Libyan family members who are angry with Gaddafi's reaction to the protest in Tripoli.
The weapons that are being used to shoot these people are not really normal caliber ones. They're using like anti-aircraft artillery, heavy weapons, 50 caliber. I've seen heads blown off with the brains hanging outside. I've seen bodies split in 3 and 4 pieces.
When somebody comes and his heart is out of his chest and his brain is shone, they told me we're doing our work, but we can't stop crying. They never seen something like that before, and it's just horrible.
Many people here at their protest today are very worried about their families since they can't reach them. The Gaddafi regime has shut down cell phones and landlines.
My parents are both from Misrata and Tripoli, and the ones in Tripoli, there is no way we can get hold of anybody. We don't know who's alive, who's dead. We have no idea what's going on.
I mean, they play this game by slowing down the internet. Sometimes they disconnect the phones, sometimes they don't.
Now, one of the concerns people have is checking on their family and friends because of the lack of communication in Tripoli. In San Francisco, Amal Hassan for State of Events.
Gas prices are at almost $4 a gallon, and experts say prices will probably go even higher. Nancy Garrels reports on how this is serious bad news for already struggling students.
SF State students commute from all over the Bay Area to get to school. With increasing gas prices, some are finding it more difficult to get to class.
At this Chevron on 19th Avenue in San Francisco,
gas prices are as high as $3.97 for Supreme. Finding alternative ways to get to school is becoming more popular. Students who commute may find themselves paying over $55 for a 15-gallon tank. Students are handing over their hard-earned pay and even food money to fill their gas-guzzling cars. Being a student and having to commute to school can lead some debating where their money should be spent. Some ask themselves, do I feed myself or fill my tank to get to class?
I want to go out and eat, but like I only have $20 in my account. My car is like, a quarter full and I need to go somewhere tomorrow. So what do I do? Do I eat or do I go to the place? Or do I just go home, fix something really quick?
To cope with expensive gas, taking BART or Muni will help keep your pockets and your stomachs full. Back to you in the studio.
And on to our continuing coverage of the CSU budget. The California State University system normally runs audits once every other year. Now they want to cut audits altogether. State of Events reporter Angela Masalam tells us why this move may be an excuse for the university to have ultimate discretion over finances.
In all 3 years, when we see budget cuts or changes, academic affairs gets the short end of the stick.
Faculty and students packed the Seven Hills Conference Center on campus as Dr. Howard Bunsis gave them an inside look into what he says the CSU system
No longer believe public higher education is the public good.
The SFSU community hasn't been very happy with the tuition hikes, teacher layoffs, and class reductions.
So it's just really frustrating to see these professors that do so much good work being threatened to lose their jobs.
Some classes are so impacted, teachers now put a cap on how many students they let in. Like this psychology class, which went down from about 750 to just over 700 students. Leroy Morishita says it's because of the
budget cuts from the state, and we didn't have the funds to provide for all those students.
But Dr. Bunsis says that's not true.
CSU and SFSU are not broke. They have the resources to commit to the core academic mission, but they're not.
In fact, he has a 78-page document indicating SF state officials spent more on its administrators than the classroom. The column on the right shows academic affairs decreased in its budget, while the executive department saw a whopping 11% increase. I asked Leroy to verify if the numbers were accurate. He said he'd get back to us.
Meanwhile, students feel they need to bind together with their professors and take action against tuition hikes and faculty layoffs. There will be a strike this week on 19th Avenue, followed by a rally at Malcolm X Plaza at noon. SF State students and faculty will then march over to City College. We will have the full story for you next week.
San Francisco State University is adding 3 more units for students who enter in the fall of 2012. The university is adding another general education requirement about environmental awareness. Brittany Bell has more on the story.
San Francisco State is, and its history indicates that it's a campus of forward thinkers who think about the relationship of education to pragmatic realities of people's lives.
San Francisco State University will be known for starting the green wave in the CSU system. San Francisco State will be the first school to require undergrads to take an environmental sustainability class starting fall 2012. According to Academic Chair Sean Whalen, the prompt modify is due to the changing times.
General education requirement that we have had in place, we've had for more than 25 years. So it was minted in an era quite different than the one we live in.
There will be a variety of courses to meet the requirement, such as recycling class, human life class, and environmental theory class. Fortunately, the added segment will be considered an overlay class, so students will not have to take an extra class to graduate from an already impacted school. The added course is to help students become aware of what's going on in their environment, from greenhouse gases to global warming.
San Francisco State University is known to be a cutting-edge, free-thinking college, so it should not be a surprise about the added environmental segment. But the real question is, what will the students think?
I think it's a really great idea. I think it's really important for people to be more aware of what type of resources they're using on a day-to-day basis.
Whereas Amy Rybar, a freshman at SFSU, believes other classes should have been implemented first.
Personally, I think it's kind of stupid, and I think it's a big waste of time because we hear about environmental studies all the time.
San Francisco is said to be a progressive city. It may just be San Francisco State is just living up to the rumors. Brittany Bell in San Francisco, State of Events.
As part of your daily routine, one way of getting around the city may now be illegal. After the break, find out why your cab ride may be breaking the law.
Social networking may not have an age group. Togetherville changes all that. State of Events with this story.
Donate to Habitat for Humanity, Greater San Francisco, and let your change become the change a family needs. Habitat for Humanity, Greater San Francisco, building homes and hope in Marin, San Francisco, and the Peninsula.
Welcome back to State of Events. You can check out more news on the web at stateofevents.tv or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/stateofevents. San Francisco is a leader in the green movement and alternative transportation, but one new plan is drastically changing the rules by taking the power away from cars and giving it to bikes. As I told you in this report, it's changing the meaning of green in San Francisco. It's called the Green Wave, and it's switching things up on San Francisco's Valencia Street. It involves the retiming of stoplights from 25 miles an hour to 13 miles an hour, a pace that's popular among bikers.
But if you go right at cruising speed, you'll make all the lights.
This is a plan that was recently implemented by SFMTA to improve the ease of biking in the city and increase its popularity.
And this will encourage cyclists and more people biking to work and biking around the city. And the more cyclists we have in the city, the more sustainable the city will become.
Jefferson McCarley of Mission Bicycle Company says making biking easier in San Francisco is essential to its popularity.
And when we expedite even biking to get you there even faster, that just makes that mode of transportation that much more attractive.
The goal of the Green Wave is not only to improve the speed of biking, but also to improve the safety. If bikers have more greens, then they're less likely to run a red.
When you've got green light after green light after green light after green light, there's no temptation to run a red light.
The Green Wave gets its name from the wave of green lights that bikers experience along the route, but its roots are in sustainability.
Green Wave allows cars to idle less.
Idling less means fewer toxic fumes and a cleaner environment tomorrow. In San Francisco, Colin Lagren for State of Events. Now, not all people are happy about the change. Motorists say traffic will be slower on Valencia, but SFMTA says their studies show that that's not true. The transit organization has not announced any plans to implement the Green Wave throughout any other city neighborhoods.
Some call it negotiating, others call it soliciting. The truth is that riding an unauthorized cab can be illegal, and it happens every day. Reporter Brenda Cancino has the story.
In the heart of San Francisco, thousands of locals and tourists get around by using public transportation. But what most don't know is that as cheap and convenient as it sounds, most limos or town cars soliciting rides are illegal.
Usually you see them in front of the hotels, they'll be parked on the side, or a lot of times you see them driving by or they're parked.
These cars drive around the city picking up riders off the street, in the same way taking business from licensed cabs.
Taking the money from me and taking it from the public and get away with it.
SFPD is tackling down these drivers by patrolling the most commonly visited areas.
It is what it is. I mean, the cops out there have to be careful. They have to stop them if they're doing any illegal activity like anything else.
If caught, these limo drivers can get their car impounded and face up to $5,000 in fines. At all times, day or night, you still have places to be at. Some choose to take the legal route, but others, just to save a couple bucks, take the chance.
But I can jump in a limo for $5, $6, and go 2-3 blocks and in a much better car.
Without any regulations, drivers have undefined rates.
They have no rates.
City Supervisor Scott Wiener says San Francisco needs more taxi service on Friday and Saturday nights. The supervisor is proposing a plan to put more cabs on city streets. The proposal would issue more taxi permits that could only be used during those peak hours. The supervisor's office says the current taxi service is not enough for a world-class city.
San Francisco's Muni is officially the worst transportation system in the state. The California Public Utilities Commission will be investigating the rail line for problems that put public safety at risk. This could lead to a daily fine of $20,000 per infraction. Over 20 inspections showed that the violations included a defective track, train control issues, and even train operators speeding and sleeping on the job. Muni has 30 days to file a response to the commission, but says they are working to keep the city's oldest rail system safe for all the riders.
A cherry picker fell into a sinkhole on Sutter Street near Banana Republic overnight. No one was injured, but some of the Banana Republic stock in the basement was destroyed when the sprinkler system went off. Sutter Street was closed this morning until mid-morning, and motorists and pedestrians are advised to plan alternate routes. The 2,047-foot tall tower of the new eastern span of the Bay Bridge is almost done. On Monday, crews hoisted up the 106-foot tall piece of tower. This was the first of 4 pieces that will be lifted into place over the next week. The new eastern span is expected to be done at the end of 2013 with a total cost of $6.3 billion.
Now, playgrounds may not be outside anymore. Online play is taking over. Marsha Westcott has the exclusive web report on a Kid's site called Togetherville.
Thanks, Dahlia. We may be seeing less and less children outside, but more and more online. Last week, Disney bought a social networking site for kids. The new partnership with Togetherville is not the first attracting kids to the web. Disney has recently purchased game sites and is increasing their TV programming. While the company is focusing on expanding, parents may want to rethink social networking. Togetherville's increased parental controls create a safe online environment. According to the site, they have awesome games and allow parents to be in control of who their kids' friends are. But Togetherville has to follow Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA. This is a charge of 1 cent, and it's a one-time fee for parents to be on the site. Broadcasting Professor Betsy Blosser comments on who should be online.
That we need to be starting kids out at this age doing the kind of socializing that they do on Facebook. It's one thing for teenagers to socialize in that way. It's another thing for kids to think about how to present themselves.
Togetherville's goal is to keep kids away from the dangers of adult networking sites. Along with Disney, they should create a fun, friendly site. For more of Professor Blosser's interview, visit stateofevents.tv. Back to you guys.
Shoppers can now get text messages for special store offers when walking near certain stores. Last Monday, San Francisco joined other major cities in testing out a nationwide text advertising program. Consumers can enter their phone number on an AT&T website and will get promotions when they walk by participating stores. Since this technology uses cell towers, it can be used on any AT&T phone.
Well, are you wondering what to do in San Francisco this weekend? Brittany Bell's here to tell us about wonderful family-friendly events that are going on. Brittany?
San Francisco is painting the town green this weekend. No, I'm not talking about an early St. Patrick's Day parade. I'm talking about the Green Film Festival. San Francisco will be hosting the annual West Coast Green Film Festival this weekend. Expect to see many performances and films about environmental advocacy. Speaking of the environment, the 59th Annual Orchid Festival is this weekend in San Francisco. The event is guaranteed to give you an eyegasm full of beautiful colors from each bloom integrated in a scenic fragrance wonderland. Though if you want true scenery, all you have to do is look up. This Friday, Galleria Park Hotel will be giving guided walking tours of San Francisco. The tour includes exploring and learning about some of San Francisco's infamous historical landmarks. There is no denying that there is always something good to do in San Francisco. It's almost impossible to be bored. Back to you.
NASA has discovered Earth-like planets that could possibly sustain life. We'll tell you what NASA scientists in Mountain View tell us about the planet.
Wait. What are we doing again?
NASA has discovered Earth-like planets that could possibly sustain life. We'll tell you what NASA scientists in Mountain View say about the new planets. Stay with us.
There are many important days in your child's life. Their first birthday, their first big game, their first day of school. Choosing the right school for your child sets them on a path for success. Apply on time. It's for your family's future.
NASA has made a new discovery that could help answer the question of whether there's life on other planets. James Martinez joins us now to tell us more about what the space agency has recently learned. James?
Thanks, Dahlia. Kepler-11 is a large space telescope that was launched over 2 years ago. It is trying to find planets that are capable of supporting life. It's been the age-old question, are we alone in the universe? NASA's Kepler-11 mission has recently discovered new planets in their star's habitable zone.
The habitable zone of a star is the region around a star where there could be life, habitation. And the main thing that determines that is the temperature.
The temperature of a planet must allow for liquid water, an ingredient that is essential for life. Kepler-11's recent findings begins to scratch the surface of finding Earth-like planets.
What's really exciting about it is that it was a multiple planet system and that they were so close into the star. They're so, and the planets themselves were not that big in comparison to some of the other planets that have been discovered before.
Kepler-11 measures the distance of the planets from its star to find out whether or not it has enough light to heat the planet up to a temperature that's similar to the Earth.
So it looks like we're already finding 5 or 6 that seem to have the right conditions to support water in a liquid form.
The finding of Earth-like planets means that there could be intelligent life somewhere else in the universe.
There just has to be some life out there. There's so much out there that I would be very surprised if we're alone in the universe.
The Kepler telescope measures the brightness of stars to determine if there are Earth-like planets. Among the 1,100 planetary candidates found, 54 orbiting in their star's habitable zone. Of the 54, there are 5 planets that are near Earth size. For more on the Kepler mission, you can go to www.nasa.gov. Back to you, Colin.
A new statewide program will give homeowners rebates worth of up to $4,000 if they make significant energy-efficient improvements to their homes. Energy Upgrade California is a $300 million program designed to reduce household energy use, save money on utility bills, and create jobs. Homeowners can choose a basic upgrade of more than $1,000 rebates, or advanced upgrade of a rebate of up to $4,000. Go to energyupgradeca.org for more information.
Tying up employees and stealing computer parts. That's what happened when 15 armed men staged a robbery of a high-tech company in Fremont last week. The robbers were all dressed in black and armed with handguns and automatic rifles. Police say the robbery was caught on camera and is being investigated.
A San Francisco woman posing as a San Bruno blast victim will spend a year in jail. Angela Marie Wise went to a help center that was set up after the September 9th blast. It killed 8 people and destroyed 38 homes. Wise is the 6th person to be charged with posing as a victim of the San Bruno fire.
Almost 700 people with alleged ties to Mexican drug trafficking have been arrested. The operation, called Project Southern Tempest, was led by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency over the past 3 months. Among the people arrested have had violent criminal histories and were from 133 gangs in 24 countries. The operation is the biggest ever and involved over 170 local, state, and federal agencies.
Well, we've been having some sun for the last couple of days, but the clouds and rain will be returning. Allie Williams joins us now with the weather forecast for the next few days. Allie?
Thanks, Colin. Well, as we head into the first weekend of March, we'll be having some slightly warmer weather than last week, but you should still hang on to your jacket. On Friday, we'll see cloudy conditions with the high at 59 and the low at 49. Saturday won't change much, still cloudy, but with lows at 51. For the next 2 days, we'll be looking at some rain with temperatures ranging from lows in the 40s to highs in the 50s. Sunday will mark the start of the rain and we'll have a high of 57 and a low of 47. Monday will drop slightly. Highs will be at 54 and lows at 44. If you're not a fan of the rain, you'll be pleased with Tuesday. Things will clear up and we'll be looking at sunny skies. Don't hang up your coat quite yet though, because it's still going to be chilly with a high of 57 and a low of 46. I'm Allie Williams for State of Events, and that's your 5-day forecast. Back to you.
A homeless man who hadn't seen his daughter in 11 years found her by using Twitter. 3 weeks ago, Daniel Morales was given a cell phone as part of a documentary and was asked to share his life by tweeting. He posted that he was looking for his daughter, Sarah, and she called the next day. The pair met in New York City last week, where Daniel finally met his grandkids.
And Apple announced their iPad 2 this week. The device has several new features, including a camera that is expected to boost sales. There is already buzz that Apple could be releasing a new iPad later this year. An unidentified Apple employee told the tech website Apple Insider that the iPad 3 is the one that consumers should be excited about, and that is expected in September.
For more State of Events, find us on the web at stateofevents.tv.
And like us on Facebook at facebook.com/stateofevents.
And that's it for this week's State of Events. I'm Dahlia Asfour.
And I'm Colin Ligren. See you next week for another edition of State of Events. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.